Come on, please. Yes! 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 Yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is episode number 35 of the Nine Dart Podcast, your one-stop shop for talking tungsten. Lorenzo and Josh in on a Friday because I couldn't make it to a Wednesday with another conflict of scheduling. We've done Wednesday pods, so we did play on a Thursday during the Premier League.
We did.
But I think Friday's the latest it's been, and thank goodness for that, Josh, because there's actually a lot of news in here. I'm going to point out when we get there, which we would have discussed next week if we recorded on our usual Wednesday. So there is so much going on. It is an extraordinary week it's been. It's hard to know where to exactly start, but we've got lots to dissect. The Grand Prix, the World Youth Championship, the usual slice of MODUS in there as well. Yes. We have the week. I just saw the week 8 lineup this morning. It looks very tasty.
It does.
How are you, Josh?
Oh, I'm so well. We got so much to crack into. So, boy, there's just so much going on. We got people retiring. We got people winning the Grand Prix. We got some incredible matches. There is so much going on, but we may as well start. John McDonald and referee George Noble are calling up time. So as soon as I saw this, mate, I was so sad. Obviously, we know George Noble was going to wrap up eventually, and
we knew it was going to be this World Championship. He's already confirmed that in the middle of the year.
But John McDonald, that came as a really big surprise to me.
A bit out of nowhere.
I don't know about you, but did it come as a surprise for you instantly?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Well, we knew about George Noble already he confirmed it during a Euro Tour event earlier in the year. But yeah, John McDonald was a bit of a surprise. I was thinking about this yesterday, reflecting on his career. He started being the main PDC Master of Ceremonies, taking over from the late Phil Jones in 2007. And his first World Championship was the 2008 one, which was the first to be held at Alexandra Palace. And with all the talk about moving from that venue, he could potentially have done all the World Championships that will ever happen at the Alexandra Palace. Certainly in that West Hall, if they do eventually move it to the Great Hall in the same venue. Yeah, so it's these eras are sort of we're very much shifting now. The old guard is gone. Russ Spray is no longer doing ranking banks. Paul Hinks is still obviously doing stuff elsewhere, but not involved in PDC anymore. George Noble saying goodbye. We do have plenty of young bloods coming through.
We do.
Reference that Owen Biggs interview that we did during the Melbourne Premier League night.
That was great fun.
And he's the short price odds-on favourite for George Noble's retirement to come back here television. Why have you stopped working? This is not great. There we go. We're back with the Canva. But yeah, so John McDonald was certainly a surprise, but he felt that now was the time to finish up. Be interesting to see if what replacement he gets, whether it's someone who's had more of a darts background, someone like that Gerwen who does on the Euro Tour. His name is excuse me, whose name I can't remember at the moment. Yeah, so we're really transitioning into a new era of darts, and we're sort of in this the style of the Luke Littler era sort of crossed over with the ends of eras, with Ross Bray doing his first World Final being his last ranking event, and now George Noble and John McDonald saying goodbye. So it's all of it. Things are changing on Planet Darts at the moment.
It is. Well, we're looking back on it. Do we have a favourite moment? I'm going to jump in real quickly because you know which one I'm going to go to for John McDonald, right? Obviously, Phil Taylor's last game against Rob Cross in the 2018 World Final. God,
that was so iconic.
I've listened to that walk-on like 80 times, mate, and I'm going to keep on doing it.
Pretty much memorised it.
I have memorised it. I can do it word for word off there if you like.
That was his greatest moment. The greatest player of all time said goodbye back in 2018.
Best walk-on ever. Fight, mate. Like, honestly. Yeah.
His last one at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool was pretty cool as well.
Oh, he was.
But yeah, there's plenty of ones. He's butchered a few names throughout the years. There was one where UK Open draw, Christopher Ratajski, he called him Rajajski or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was quite funny. But they've both been so important. It's so important to have these sort of guys around, even who aren't like top players, who are just sort of constant. That whenever time you turn on the darts, there's George Noble calling game. There's John McDonald introducing. And you sort of get used to that familiarity, considering both these guys switched over to the PDC or came really heavily involved in PC pretty much roughly the same time, about that 2007-2008 era, sort of 2 decades ago, just under 2 decades ago. So having them finish up is a little bit sad, but no doubt, particularly no doubt from George Noble, because we're pretty confident on who might replace him. That we will have plenty of young talent coming the other way. But so that occurred during the weekend was very much a surprise.
I'm assuming more or less he'll get the final as Ross Bray did when he
you would have thought
You'd hope so. You'd hope so.
He hasn't got any of the finals in the intervening events, not at the match play, not at the Grand Prix, but the World Championship is a bit different. Yeah. And it would be great, those two standing on stage for that walk-on as well, for McDonald introducing them on, and then Noble saying game on. So that would be that moment would be pretty epic.
Whoever the two
as
gentlemen
well.
will be in the final.
Yeah,
We'll find
exactly.
out.
Alrighty, so, but the rest of the week has been, well, it's been jam-packed. The World Grand Prix, what a fun event. Leicester's probably not the greatest place for it, to be completely honest, but the format, double
Still.
start is fantastic.
Love
Set
double
play
start.
just turns games constantly.
does.
The moment you're thinking it's going one way, it goes back the other. It can be quite unlucky. Like in the final, the first 4 sets went all the way to the distance, but they went one way.
Yep.
And had they been split, it would have been a very different match. But it's a great event. We need these sort of unique-ish events, and I've got a proposal for a new one coming up in the Great
I
Debate.
saw.
But how do you find the Grand Prix?
Love it, love it. Set play is such a different dynamic to leg play. I said to you,
Yep.
leg play, right? So say it's first to 16 legs, right? And you're 11-5 down. I think it's a harder grind to
Oh,
actually
is it ever?
get neck and neck. But set play, it's essentially first to 3 to win a set.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's not essentially. It is what it is.
is. But you know, you can go 2 to its sudden death. It's like, right, I need to win this leg to win the set. It's like, it's remarkable. But personally, I love it. I love it. There's not many tournaments we have that are really set
No,
play.
it's just it's the Grand Prix in the
mainly
World. The World
leg
Masters
play,
is
yeah.
a different set play with a best of 3 now with the change of format at the start
Yeah.
of the year. So
Premier League's obviously leg play.
yeah, or most of
Pretty
the
much all
events,
the other
most of the new
majors.
events have
Yeah.
gone down the sort of leg play format, which is fine, and probably makes set play even more special that we don't see it that often. WDF World Championship also has set play as well, and sometimes you'll find on the affiliate tours they do the occasional set play tournament in between the usual leg play stuff. But yeah, just having those 2 different dynamics, the double start and the set play, make for some memorable matches, and we certainly had a few.
Yes.
We didn't get to this last week because I hadn't watched this game yet,
Yeah.
but this was insane. Jan van Veen broke the average, the long-held average of Alan Warren a little for the highest average in the Grand Prix
2001.
by only 0.02.
Yep.
106.47 average. He lost 2-0, and I'll get this up with me. It was a close first set, and I don't think he won a leg in the second set, if I'm remembering that correctly. Yep, that's exactly what
Yep.
happened. So he won 2 legs, averaging 106.47 out of 8. This is what Luke Littler does to you because he averaged the 3rd highest in
Yeah, I was
Grand
just
Prix
gonna point to
history.
that,
Only
yeah.
Warren
105.58.
Ellis
Yep.
That has to be like the greatest game in the competition's history.
World Grand Prix history. Yeah. Well, it's a shame it was only first to 2 legs though. Imagine this was like
If it was-
second,
yeah.
third round. This could have been
we
incredible.
could. It would have been. The standard was just was off the charts.
Well, I just noticed all these have been round 1 fixtures.
Yeah, well, that helps because the
It
shorter
does help,
format sort
yeah.
of doesn't allow you any time to sort of fade away.
That's true.
So, and if you look at like the greatest averages of all time, they're almost always like best of 11, best of 12 when it was the old Premier League format. There's
Yep.
one Phil Taylor game which was a best of 17 at the UK Open, which was a 9-0 whitewash, which is sort of the only one. And Michael van Gerwen a few years ago, I say a few years ago, it was a little while ago, in the semi-final of a World Championship where he averaged 114 against Paul Barty, who averaged not too similar to that and got walloped. So yeah, those shorter formats when they condense them, and that's the other thing with the Grand Prix that's unique. It's a first to 2 set. Only time we see it first round, which sort of offers up chances for bizarre things to happen. And I know it wasn't the case in this situation because the seed, the favourite, won. But it helps. It really does help the non-seed, the underdogs, because when you withdraw that format, you allow them more for, I wouldn't say fluky outcomes, but more likely to do what's needed to win in a more condensed period of time.
Indeed. It was just incredible. Like, we know Jan van Veen is going to be that next crop of
he's
talent,
in amongst them.
you
He's
know?
not too far away. He's not in. I mean, the 8 for the Premier League for mine is pretty set at the moment. The 2 Lukes with Michael and Stephen being the top 4, who probably get a wild card even if they weren't in it.
You got Rock
and then
in
it's
there.
Wade, Rock, Clayton, and Gezi. They're the 8 at the moment.
Well,
it feels pretty
Gezi's
locked.
sort of top 4,
Van
yeah.
Veen and Heta are probably the only other ones that they fit the bill
Outsiders,
for what we
yeah.
want, but they just haven't done enough this year so far, or even in their career so far. Van Veen's is still fairly young, and we'll see him at a big event later in the year.
I'm sure.
But yeah, the 8 for the moment are pretty set, and while Van Veen's in that. Is in the sort of Premier League like people who are what the PDC sort of want. He's not quite there just yet. He's probably still a year or 2 away, hopefully.
I agree. But I'm sure he'll be there in a couple of years. No
What
doubt.
he needs is to do. He's sort of like Luke Littler last year when he kept running into in first round. He kept drawing the big names.
Yep.
So if he can get himself into the top 16 and get that seeded position and get favourable first round matchups, I think that will help him along the way.
I'm sure. It's just incredible stuff. And then we have Littler Price.
Now
was
this
something
was
else.
a ridiculous game. You've thrown in the 1-5-2 finish. And Dan Dawson's commentary was brilliant.
That is ridiculous.
Because I didn't even hear it the first time because of my own reaction. And I love George Noble as well. There's two ways to call that. There is the over-hyphened, or there's the way George Noble does it, which is just game, shot, on the match, look at that.
Yeah.
So you want to be either end there. But that match was ridiculous. And that showed the drama of set play, because that match was over when Gezi was up 2-0 in the fourth set. Littler clawed it back. The 154 skin saver was extraordinary. With, I think, Gezi back on 60 in that 152. Gezi just hit a big treble to leave a possible 2-dart out with the 96.
I think
he
in that
didn't get a lock.
last set, it was 2-1 down. He hit a 156 finish to go on that last leg decider. That was incredible.
Well, that was the thing. The first two legs of the fourth set went with Price. Then Littler came back to 1. Then he went 2-0 up. And then Gezi fought his way back to 156. There wasn't any pressure on it because Littler wasn't on a finish because he had to sort of pour out that particular leg. And then they struggled to get in. This is why darts is great. In every other sport, when two teams or two players aren't playing well, it's terrible to watch. But when these two guys aren't playing well, it's actually magnificent because they drag each other down in the drama, especially with the double start crowd getting involved. And I'll have another whinge at Gezi on Instagram later. But the drama of it. And by the way, how weird was it for Gerwen Price to continue for whatever reason halfway through this tournament to switch to double 13 as his starting double? I couldn't believe it.
I saw Owen Beggs do a TikTok on that. His reaction.
It was very bizarre. He was still leaving tops at the back end and hitting it to finish legs. And his justification was like, well, where I stand, it's sort of close there. As if they changed the dartboard from the last time he's been playing the World Grand Prix. It's always been like that, Gerwen. Come on now. So that was odd, but it provided such... It was the best game of the year, not in terms of quality. Not in terms of quality. I mean, it was the worst average. It was the worst game average-wise of the night. And they weren't in the stratosphere of someone like Gary Anderson, who lost his match to Danny Noppert, averaging 92.35. But the drama that match had, and the drama of set play, and the 2 sets went the distance. 2 sets were whitewashes before that, so it was just all crazy and. It was just fantastic.
Price had match darts as well.
He had match darts as well.
He had like, I reckon, 9 or 10 match darts over the course of like the back end 2 sets.
I don't think it was that many, but he certainly had
5,
a few.
maybe. Yeah.
He had chances where he was sort of on a single to double.
He had 2 at tops for one of them.
Yeah, and there was one at double 12 and
12,
there was the crazy one where I think this was his opportunity to win. He had a dart tops, and it was either gonna. My thought as he was throwing, it was either going to go in or just go high because that's where he was missing on tops. It went in neither. It went into the double 1. He split the 38 and missed double 12 and double 6. So. But yeah, Littler held his own after, and once he won that match, he was always going to go on and win the tournament, which is what he ended up doing. And there were plenty more. This was in the semi-final, the 161 finish, and Wayne Mardle called this one ridiculous. We did this in the last episode with the 170 finish from Nathan Aspinall, which was right in the middle. That one wasn't that. Speaking of Nathan Aspinall, I actually wasn't planning to say that. Pro Tour events, which we'll get to later. There was a funny old finalist in Place Championship 32. We'll get to that. But Nathan Aspinall hit not 1, but 2 9-darters in Place Championship event at 31. He made a losing final. This was Steve Lennon in the second round. 7 treble 20s, treble 19, double 12. The classic route.
No reaction as well. Next one against Lucas Winnig.
This was on Glenn Durran was certainly on commentary. I don't know if there was anyone else there. I think there was actually. Bang, bang, bang.
Oh yes.
And
get excited.
Yeah, a very fluid throw. All
incredible.
Recently, which is good from what we want from Nathan Aspinall. Just same way. 2 in 1 day. And how about Andreas Harrison? We love it. I love anything with Andreas, so we had to throw it in with him in the beard. Bullseye! 170 out on the streaming board. Yes, indeed. Well done, Andreas. And of course, I was going to throw in the future. We can't forget Mitchell Laurie. He's just had the most extraordinary year on the JDC side of things. And there was another thing in the Future Star which I forgot to add, and I'll need to bring it up later when we get there. Hitting a 9-dart finish in a match on during the week as well at a vault. He's had such a phenomenal year. And Scottish Darts is in good hands with him and him alone, because there's not much else coming from that
grown
from
adults
of
and
that wall.
Everything. Just nuts.
Yeah, so he's had
him pictured with the boards.
Yep.
There is his averages. There was what happened: 174, 180, 147.
Yeah, 147 easier than a 9-darter. Proven again, once again. Sorry, snooker fans. And of course, we have the ANZ Premier League on as well,
James
which
Bailey.
we've buried a little bit further down. But James Bailey decided to do a half-decent thing once and hit a... That's a bit harsh on James Bailey. He's way better dart player than I am. 1-6-4 finish, but he's lagging right down the bottom. The only player who has had a win through the first 2 nights. We have the Premier League table towards the end. And look, I said he would be the outsider in this field, and that's proven to be the case. But getting back to the Grand Prix, Luke Littler winning the tournament, winning yet another major. He's only got the Players Championship finals, which he's made a final in, the World Masters, which he's only played one event of, the European Championship, which again he's only played the one event of, coming up in a couple of weeks. And well, they're the big singles titles, and then the World Cup is the other one that he hasn't got a hand on yet. Again, he's only played in that one once.
Yeah.
He's going to wrap them all up expertly, quickly. He's still only 18 years of age, still got many years left to play in the World Youth Championship. If you don't beat him, and look, the Gerwen Price match just emphasised that if you don't beat him when he's, beatable, when he's only averaging 84, he doesn't. He's not going to beat for the rest of the tournament, and he only dropped after winning that game against Gezi. He only dropped the 2 sets thereafter. In the rest of the tournament. So it just wants to get another dominant display for the man who will soon be the world number 1.
Yeah, so it was Clayton, then Humphries. Yeah, dominating win against Humphries. Jeez, just nuts. But if we go through the entirety of the results, obviously 2-0 against Van Veen, 105 average. 3-0 against Decker, 91 average. 3-2 against Gerwen Price, obviously 84 in the end. 5-1 against Johnny Clayton, 97 average. And then 92.15 average against Humphries, 6-1 dominating victory.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
he had an incredible week on the Oki, that's for sure.
The crazy thing about it was, with the double start, Tops was not his friend this week. He had to keep switching to double 16, was the one he had to keep getting in.
Yeah.
He did miss the ball for a potential 9-dove finish at one point as well, which was sad. But... yeah, so he proved that he can get to... See, he can even win on Plan B, which is insane, given how good his Plan A is.
I remember you saying last year on Aussies Around the Grounds that he would start on the ball. He didn't, but this time
he did on a few occasions. Well, at least he tried on a few occasions and got in certainly once.
I know there was the one occasion where he hadn't got in. Humphries needed 25, and I think he had...
Yeah, this was in the second leg of the final.
Second leg of the final. He had 9 missed chances around the ring, and he's like, stuff it, I'm going down the ball.
Yeah.
Didn't hit it.
We didn't see anyone get brushed, that is, win a leg by, or lose a leg by 501 points. Nearly happened in that
because
final.
Humphries had 2 darts at double 8.
Yes,
I remember, if that's correct. And then he was just on that wire. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if it happened. But
yeah, it'd be funny if it happened. It didn't, though. But look...
Look,
the look through themselves again is right up there as well, because Humphries had a good week with the double start. I think he really enjoys this format. Once he gets in and double 16, he's pretty good.
That roar with the crowd winning, that double 16 winning eventually.
Yeah, exactly. The crowd had a great week.
Very funny.
But yeah, Littler, the winner this week, solidifying his spot. He's very, very close to overtaking Luke Humphries now as the world number 1. So got nothing to defend until the World Championship, and with the prize money going up, it's just all favouring him to just keep climbing and climbing and climbing. We never saw Luke Humphries get to that £2 million mark. Littler might be the one, though, again, with the prize money increase and not defending anything for a while. So, look, he had a great week short of the quarterfinal game. Had to switch up from the tops to the double 16, but he found a way to persevere through and beat quality opposition along the way. I mean, when you get to these sort of events, these are the best of the best, especially Grand Prix and the match play with the top 16 on the Pro Tour of Merit and the main order of merit. So a very, very strong weekend for Luke Littler, picking up yet another big title, and you think he's gonna run through these pretty quickly. There probably won't even be an event that's like his bogey for like 5 or 6 years, where it's like, oh, he just can't do that one. No, he's got them all. He's going to get them all wrapped up very quickly. One would assume.
Indeed. Well, you've got someone who was a positive surprise this week. Danny Noppert.
Danny Noppert. This is a funny thing with Danny. You never know what he's doing. His Euro Tour form of the start of the year was shocking.
Yeah.
But he proved himself a quality enough player. He beat my man Stephen Bunting, who was not 100%. He had back issues throughout the week. So we won't put anything against Stephen for a slightly below par performance in that second round. He just wasn't in the physical condition. But Danny Noppert played quite well. But the skins gaming 1-2-5 from Stephen was special.
It was.
Beating a very good Gary Anderson in that particular match as well in the quarterfinal night. And being competitive against Luke Humphries after he fell behind early quickly, but brought himself back into the match in a very positive way to see, to the point where I was sort of like, oh, hello, this is not. This is surprising us a little. Could Danny do this? Not quite,
no.
but yeah, a strong week, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you agree with just how great he was this week.
I think he showed his sort of top 16 material that we know he can produce for sure. So no, I totally agree. He was definitely a positive surprise for the week, and good action photo there, rolling into the crowd. Love it.
Absolutely. We had some poorer performances in the
did.
biggest flop. You get Ross Smith.
Yes, I do have Ross Smith. He wasn't great against his game against Daryl Gurney, obviously the World Cup winner alongside Josh Rock. He won just 1 out of the 7 legs in his game. He just looked very scratchy to me. Just missed doubles, not many visits that were over a ton, just a bit under the weather.
And that last one is because that's Ross Smith's strength, is hitting the trebles and being just a massive 180
We know
hitter.
him alongside Rock and other names of massive 180 hitters, as you just alluded to. So, yeah, a fraction disappointing, but hey, I'm sure he'll get back up.
I would argue more disappointing was Joe Cullen, who had a good first round win and then just fell off the cliff to a 68 average. Just could not get in at all and only won the one leg in the third set, being whitewashed in sets at least by Gary Anderson. He was very disappointing. Joe Cullen, let me just go back and find his first round win. There he was over James Wade, 85 average.
Yeah.
Fairly solid performance in the first round, but then fell apart in what was clearly the worst performance of the week
I'd say so.
at the Grand Prix. The Price Littler game was a drama. It was just absolutely fantastic. And I didn't really think the crowd behaviour at all was too untoward. They wanted one guy to win because they're in England, but Gerwen Price wasn't particularly happy. He was very vocal on his social media that we need neutral crowds. Now, to an extent, I get it, given there's no event in Wales, so I will concede that there probably should be, and the Cardiff Premier League night is also pretty strong, but I think we have history going of why you're not particularly the most liked player, though you've come a long way this year in particular. You've had a much better year without whinging on social media. I know you're going to be. He's going to be short. He's going to be the short odds-on favourite when we go to Saudi Arabia, because they're not going to know who he is, and they're not going to be serving any alcohol there when we get to that event in January.
Right.
So, we were on such a good track with Gerwen Price with his Instagram stuff. He was looking very positive recently, and then he had to throw the crowd under the bus again.
He did.
I know.
It happens, but hey, I mean. But it does beg the question, should there be more tournaments in these neutral venues, in these neutral cities?
There probably should be more outside. It's the funny thing. There probably should be more on the British Isles that isn't England, if that makes sense. Because at the moment, all Scotland, Wales, Ireland and Northern Ireland have is a Premier League night. But they have had history a little bit of other events as well. So that is something to look into. Even something like a European tour. We had a European tour event in England about 12 years ago at Butlins Minehead. It was won by John Part. So an event like that probably would. I'm not saying to be fair to Gerwen, and I am trying to be fair. There probably should be an event, a bigger event than just the Premier League night in Wales. But you've also got to have these venues properly ready to go, and the England just has plenty more of those. And it's been said before by Matthew Porter of the PDC that if it wasn't for a particular weekend being locked in, the PDC wouldn't even go to certain venues because there's just no other point in the year that it could possibly work for either party. So that makes it difficult.
That's a good point.
So I concede on that point of view, but I just wanted to go on to say, well played, Luke. See you next time, and not have another whinge about the crowd being against him, even though there's been plenty of instances where he might not be particularly popular.
Yeah, I agree. Well, does beg that question, and then I think in the next sort of months and years to come, we'll sort of find out if that comes to fruition, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's one disappointing moment. Him blasting on his Instagram again, but something that's very interesting.
I've been thinking about this for so long.
Go for it.
And this has been something that has been talked about. Someone like Paul Nicholson has talked about this for a while, and other guys. The equivalent of, we had a few weeks ago, the Ryder Cup in golf, it's just a fascinating event with US and Europe. And there was some pretty bad crowd behavior at that event too from the American fans, but that's for a different podcast. And the Labour Cup as well has been fairly successful and unique in tennis. We love a team event. We love the World Cup, you and I, no doubt.
Love it.
So I reckon that this sort of event, whether it's a team, Britain and Ireland versus the rest of Europe or Team Britain Ireland versus the world, I think could be a very interesting,
Oceania.
very unique event. Well,
Oceania do too well.
that's the slight problem we have here. We need 2 teams,
Quality.
and we're not really anywhere close to a stage of Europe versus the rest of the world, which would sort of be a dream, which is what the Laver Cup is.
Yeah.
So it definitely Britain Ireland would be equivalent to the US in the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup, which is the other biennial golf tournament. And then whether you want to go a Team Europe or even a Team Rest of the World to get our man Damon Hetter and others involved in, that would be great. And why I think a Ryder and Laver Cup would be so good is you can mix around a bit with the format. So in the Ryder Cup, firstly, the match play tournament, you have to win the most holes. It's not just straightforward stroke play. And secondly, they have effectively the equivalent of tennis doubles, in effect, with 2 guys either sharing the same ball or playing off their own ball, and sort of lowest score wins the hole. And darts, we can do that, not so much with it would still be most legs win the match, but we could do things like double starts. This would be just a great tournament to have a little bit more double start matches as well. You would have you could do things like Master Hour, which I've said before, finishing on a double or a treble. You could have it as much like in the Ryder Cup, the potential of a draw. So bring back the old Premier League format with the best of 12.
Yes.
I know you're very fond of the best of 10 at the moment.
Yes,
but
get to that later.
yes, exactly. But yes, so I think there'd be so much. I think you'd have the element of the captains as well, and them getting to pick a few guys for the team. Phil Taylor's the obvious one for Britain Ireland. I don't think he'd want everyone else to do it.
No.
And in terms of a name for the tournament, I have 2 players in mind
Have an
in
idea?
terms of. So we need Ryder Cup, Laver Cup. We need actually people to name this tournament after, preferably, and just not have it 50 maids locked in. I have the 2 what I think are the best possible candidates.
Let's hear it.
The first one, Dennis Priestley, the first ever PDC world champion, 2-time champion of the world, would have won many more events and many match plays as well if it wasn't for running into Phil Taylor all the time, which he sort of he rised with Phil Taylor, and unfortunately Taylor was just a little bit better. But Dennis was a fantastic player, and he's still with us, so it'd be great to sort of see him parade a trophy under his own name. And the other guy, and you could either merge these 2 or sort of like golf, have a Britain Ireland versus Europe, Britain Ireland versus the rest of the world. The other guy, so I've got the first PDC world champion. The first world match play champion was the American Larry Butler.
Wow.
So who beat Dennis Priestley in the first match play. So Priestley Cup, Butler Cup, the Priestley Butler Cup, if you wanted to combine the 2.
I don't mind that.
Those are the 2 names that I have for which would work perfectly. Is someone from Britain and Ireland, someone from not Britain and Ireland. They're the perfect names for mine. Dennis Priestley, Larry Butler, the first 2 PDC major winners. Butler's still the only American to win a PDC major as well in the more than 3 decades of history of that particular tournament. So, and again, you can just pretty much follow it off the Ryder Cup model of having combination of formats on the first 2 days, and then when you get to the last day, you get to 12 singles matches. So the element of the captain, you want to have rules like, the highest ranked Scottish players guaranteed a spot. So it's not just like one big England team when it's supposed to be representing Britain and Ireland, that sort of thing. But I reckon this sort of tournament would work. Something like what they did with the Laver Cup with the sort of unique court surface as well. Just give it something just a little bit different, make it stand out, move it around various countries, have it in England one year, then the US, then come down to Melbourne, why not?
Of course, come on, John Kane will happily host.
Then play it somewhere in Asia and somewhere in South America, somewhere in like Wales or Northern Ireland, as I was speaking about previously. I think it would be a great event, and I think these sort of team events, particularly for sports that where you're not usually playing for a team, which golf and tennis basically are the equivalents for darts for this sort of thing, would just be so good. And you can let it grow organically, and you can change it. So when the Ryder Cup started, it was US versus Great Britain, then it became US versus Great Britain and Ireland, and then it became US versus Europe. So you can change it if you only wanted to start with, say, we'll just start with Britain, Ireland, and Europe, and then we can grow from there from Europe to the rest of the world team if the non-European continents get strong enough with the tour card holders and guys coming through as well.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's a very good concept, but it's just how it would sort of happen.
It's just finding space for it. It's just so hard.
We have all these good ideas, and I totally agree. It's a great idea, but obviously how it would actually come, what would the formalities be behind it, who would play,
there's a lot of logistic stuff.
Where would it play? When will it be in the calendar? Because obviously it's such a stacked calendar these days.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There's obviously more events coming throughout the year. But
I've been thinking about this for a while, but I think I think it would work if they were able to get it done.
Yep.
I think if they incorporate double starts, you court set play, leg play, potential of draws, some matches you don't have a draw, it would, I think it would just be fantastic. And if we could get it running and name it after two important figures in the sport of darts, Dennis Priestley and Larry Butler, I think it would be absolutely fantastic. Paul Lim as well, maybe. Who knows? Maybe you get Paul Lim. Maybe we go Low and Lim for the first two people to ever hit a televised 9-dart finish.
Yes.
Maybe.
1990 BDO. You know that very, very well.
Yes, exactly. The World Youth Championship occurred during the week, but before I get to that, I did want to mention Jack Johnson won his second JDC stage final. So at Leicester, they had the National Vaults decider, and he won that particular match. So a big shout out to him. I should have had a photo of him after he won the JDC Super 16 final. A very brilliant match. There he won. Jack Johnson won that match against Alfie Hutton on before the World Grand Prix final, so that was great. But in the World Youth Championship, firstly, quick question, Pedas, without noticing that I put it on the rundown. Should tour card holders be allowed to play in the World Youth Championship? Because the World Youth Championship is nominally off the development tour, but now we have these tour card holders coming in. What are your thoughts?
Like young tour card holders?
Well, just
anyone in general?
So the reason why the likes of Luke Lillard and Jan van Veen and
obviously they played.
They played in this tournament. So should they be allowed to do so? What are your thoughts?
Well, if they're in the age limit, then why not? We want to see the best players play in these youth competitions. Obviously, you showed me that photo of Littler and the guys playing that bracket. Like, oh, brace yourself, enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
That was kind of funny, but yeah, why not? Why not? It gives good exposure for these younger guys to play against these great players and test their quality. So why not? Exactly.
I think it really hyphens the quality, because that's what everyone was talking about on social media when it was going on, was the matches we were getting. And if Luke Littler wasn't there and someone else won this tournament, we're like, well, you're normally the best player between 16 and 24, but really, we know if you played Luke Littler, you would have lost. And Luke Littler did lose.
He did.
So the fact having him there really elevated that event. I normally wouldn't be a fan of a tour card holder going to. I think tour card holders shouldn't be allowed to play in tournaments that are also eligible for you to get into the World Championship, because then it just messes up the whole system, and that's the big problem at the moment. But with the World Youth Championship, I think it's okay, because you can and they will do this, just give the next spot to the next guy on the development tour anyway.
Yeah.
So in that case, it's okay. The two players I have on the screen at the moment, Jamar van der Herk and Liam Amanda Lawrence, were the two big names that weren't really well-known names that actually went deep in this tournament. Both got to quarterfinals, so congratulations to them. And they have shown a bit of quality sort of on the European side of things for a little while now. 95.92 average in losing efforts is still pretty strong. But what we saw...
he's actually fifth on the development tour in the order of merit. Jamai?
Yes.
Yes, he's actually running for the World Championship race, which we'll get to later for Beau Greaves.
That's right, he is too. I'm actually going to bring it up later at one point. But the big side, the World Youth Championship, which occurred the day after the World Grand Prix, Luke Littler said in the post-match, I'm going to go and play that. I'm in the area, why not? He went all the way to the semi-final, averaged 107.4 in the semi-final. He missed double 12 for a 9-darter. He had 2 10-dart legs. It was not enough, because Beau Greaves proved herself in and amongst the greatest players the sport has at the moment, winning one of the most extraordinary games. She averaged 105.02.
Jesus.
What a performance. She's in, first woman to be in a World Youth Final.
Yes.
On the PDC side of things. This is fantastic. And she's also won a tour card.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Her management said she will play at Ali Pali this year.
That's confirmed, which is great.
Everything which we wouldn't have known if we didn't record this podcast a couple of days ago. It's all coming together. How good's this? Beau Greaves.
So good.
Surely she's going to have just a brilliant time on the Pro Tour and get into that top 64 in a couple of years now. It just feels like that will be inevitable.
I think so. Yeah, well, she just takes the piss out of the women's series.
Yes.
She wants
she's won the last 9 events or something, or 13 or something like that.
Crazy games or more. I don't know, but she's incredible. Yeah, it's great to see. That's obviously what we want. We want the two best youth people going head to head, and we saw that really.
Yeah, we did.
Especially for Beau Greaves, it's a fantastic result for her.
It was just a brilliant result. Littler left 32 in that last leg after 12 darts, but Beau Greaves calmly took out the 84 to win an 11. The only little issue, Josh, is that it wasn't streamed anywhere, and I don't understand why it wasn't streamed on PDC TV.
I asked you, and you're like, no?
No, I didn't.
Why?
I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't want to put this on a streaming board somewhere.
Exactly.
So we don't actually have any footage other than watching it on the Dark Connect and the scores coming up.
Scores coming
That's
in,
how
yeah.
we
Why?
learned
Come
of it.
on.
Very frustrating,
Very
particularly
frustrating.
when you have such big names going there. But Beau Greaves beating Luke Lettler 6-5 in the semi-final of the World Youth Championship. She will play in the final, which will be held between the semi-final and final of the Players' Championship finals in November against Jan van Veen, who will look to defend his title. He beat Sebastian Bielczewski 6-4 in the other semi-final that no one was really paying attention to because we were all on Lettler Greaves.
That's fair enough.
But yeah,
Sorry, Sebastian.
yeah, no disrespect to the other guys. But
He's not bad, Sebastian, actually.
We were looking for we were hoping to get a Lettler Greaves semi-final. We got it, and it delivered, and then so. It was just so amazing. Look at how about these legs? 14, 13, 14, 10, 16, 10, 12, 14, 12, 17, 11.
Wow.
Every visit bar 2, less than 100 average of that 5 trips to the Oki for the 501. They were lifting each other. It was so good. Why will we never be able to? Someone will need to have to do like an AI recreation of exactly how it went down.
Those AI videos have been sending you.
Oh, some of the AI stuff on Instagram at the moment with darts is just awful.
I know.
Please stop sending them to me, Josh, by the way. And I don't want to see any more of it.
It's meant to be like that. It's meant to be awful because it's in its infancy period.
Alrighty.
Anyway. Incredible stuff.
So, look, Beau Greaves, we're going to see plenty more. We're going
confirmation.
to talk about her plenty more because she's in amongst the best 100 players in the world at the moment, probably even more. She's going to get a tour card off the Dev Tour. She's topped the women's series. She's going to Ali Pali. She's going to the World Youth Final. Beau Greaves is going to be the name to watch, and I wonder now if she can be sort of. We've gone through. Darts have gone through a few phases here of increased popularity with Fallon Sherrick, maybe William Bullen hitting that 9 data helped it as well, and then obviously Luke Littler. But if we can get Beau Greaves Beau Greaves can go to a World Match Play, a World Grand Prix. We're going to see these extra spikes during the middle of the year where darts is a bit more in the general sporting conversation, which is going to be so important, especially if she's competitive in those matches. And look, she played very well against Luke Humphries at the UK Open earlier in the year. So, look, it's she's an extraordinary player at the moment, and now is the time. She finally looks like she's finally believing in herself as well. When she was the only one who thought, I'm really not up to this Pro Tour stuff.
I'm pretty sure she had an interview with Hugh Ware on his podcast and mentioned that and saying that I want to get back in the system. How, when, not sure, but there we go. Got confirmation now.
Yeah, she's going to get a tour card. She's going to go to the World Championship.
Yeah.
She's going to be.
She can't be
she
caught.
Might start. I'd be fascinated to see when we get the draw, when the odds come out for where she sits in the for the. I'm not sure she's going to win the tournament. Well, where her title odds will be, because she won't be all the way down there.
No.
She'll be somewhere in amongst the middle. She may even start favourite against a quality player for that first round match, depending on who she draws.
You don't know.
You don't want to be. You don't want. She's the one player on the international qualifiers you do not want to draw because she's been led. She's been competitive against Humphries. She's just been in a winning mode all year in everything that she's played. So she may generally start favourite first or second round if she gets that far.
Maybe. So there's a top 10 on the Dev Tour. Owen Bates is currently on the tour card race as well. Charlie Mamby's not too close behind. So
and there's Evander Haddock as well.
Yes.
Who's had a very, very strong year. Both of those guys I mentioned in the Future Star segment certainly have. Now we move down to Australia. The ANZ second Premier League night was in. It looked a pretty similar sort of crowd in Newcastle, packed out in the table and sparing on the tiered seating, but Raymond Smith getting the second nightly win, victories over James Bailey, and then Ben Robb and also Simon Whitlock, promising performances, and he's probably just right up the top there with the best in this field, and he's going to be a contender for the crown.
Yeah, he will. Well, we said night one that him and Tart will be those two men that have sort of asserted themselves as the men to beat, in your exact words.
Yep.
So, but interesting to see Whitlock make a bit of a run.
Whitlock didn't make a run. He got all the way to the final. He played much better than he did on night one. He was a bit... Well, his first match wasn't that extraordinary. He actually got better as the night went on and played really well in the final. He just ran into Raymond Smith, and he was taking his opportunities. Good to see Tim Pusey get a win.
Yes, your man. You like
someone
him?
who had said he had a bit of a tougher opening assignment, so he needed to just make sure that he got some wins early, and so he's banked 2 points. I believe I've got the table on the next slide. So Raymond Smith, 8 points, leads the ANZ Premier League after 2 nights. Ninth round, I'm pretty sure is in Canberra, but I've got it on a later slide. Tata 5, Whitlock 3, Kling, Pusey, Comito, Joe and Rob, all on 2, and there's no difference between Kling and Pusey on the old leg difference, but we're only 2 nights in, so that'll sort itself out. James Bailey out the back, -8 on leg difference, only leg 1 at this particular point, I think, 1 or 2. No, 2 legs 1, it is there on the graphic. And down last of all, nightly titles to Smith and Tata, who sit atop of the Premier League standings at the moment.
Indeed.
There were plenty of Pro Tour events as well, so it's just been the extraordinary ring. World Grand Prix, the World Youth Championship, and Pro Tour event. Jermaine Wattermeyer picking up a win and defying Nathan Aspinall's 2 9-dart efforts in that particular event. And then right when we thought Luke Littler might be in trouble for making Minehead, he only goes on and wins an event. Ridiculous exhibition finish with his win over Stephen Bunting. He also had a good couple of Pro Tours, as he usually does, with a 25 and then a couple of double 18s as well for a 97 checkout, because he just felt like doing it.
Those are results from both of the days. So Jermaine on the left-hand side, Littler on the right. So, yes, some pretty good performances.
Strong performances.
Jermaine, 100 average. 101 against Aspinall in the final 8-2. There's a lot of good quality stuff from there.
And there's one thing that sticks out on that graphic, Josh, and then we go to the next slide. Denny Old Clatter. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Out of nowhere. So he did not win a single event through the first 21 Pro Tours.
Let's give him a shout out.
It was just all first round stuff. Then a couple of second, fourth round. He'd been done nothing. He got his tour card at the European Q School earlier in the year. Had done very little, done next to nothing, and got to a Euro Tour. And then all of a sudden he makes the final. The PDC post about on social media had Luke Littler on stage at the World Grand Prix, and then just him sitting in front of a white background. They didn't even have he hasn't even played a stage event yet, and he's made a Pro Tour final. It was just the most out of nowhere performance of the week. Consistently beating up on the Dutch, by the way. That's all he played. Van Velzen, Zonneveld, Van Dyven, Boda, Wassermina, and then a few Englishmen in Aspinall Waits, and then obviously losing to Luke Littler, average 110 in the final.
He averaged 97 himself and took 2 legs off him. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, so it was quite the week. 102 average is a good one against in that second round against Niels Zonneveld. So
what Aspinall, Wattermeyer, pretty impressive.
Good names, good players.
Yep.
So he didn't have to scrape by against the bottom half of the top 100. These are good players, Premier League players in the case of Nathan Aspinall, and obviously the Luke Littler, which he lost to. So well done. That was a positive surprise for old Carter. The Dutchman getting deep there. Now, we have some updates on the international qualifiers. You remember that TBC spot, Josh? They've announced where it's going. It's a 5th spot on the tour card holder qualifier. Hey! All that spots we were debating. We were thinking, what could it possibly be? Could it be a last chance for guys who miss? Could it be a social media influencer event? No, it's just another event on the qualifier. In theory, in previous years, there would have been a 6th, but they've said, and it's right down the bottom there, that... Isn't it? Is it? It's so small down here. It's hard to read.
It's tiny.
That because Beau Greaves and Jan van Veen have already qualified, the Van der Hedder, who I mentioned earlier, will go to the World Championship. He has secured a spot on the development tour because it just goes to the next spot there. So, and it may even go to the next spot down because Owen Bates is potentially in position to go through the Pro Tour Order of Merit side of things. But that is getting quite busy now with the development tour wrapping up, and Owen Bates, Charlie Manby and Beau Greaves securing positions.
Indeed.
And yeah, but there's still plenty of qualifiers. ANZ Premier League will continue and will be across all on top of that, of course. And the Women's Series wraps up this weekend by the looks of that graphic. So
yeah, I think so.
Fallon Sherrick, currently Noelyn van Leuven and Gemma Hayter were certainly in position. The last time I checked, would love to see Gemma Hayter at the World Championship. Yes, they still are.
Don't mind Gemma, she's not so bad.
Chrissy Vanakainen is sort of the next one who could be the only one that could displace Gemma Hayter. You can pretty much lock in. We know Beau Greaves is there. We know Fallon Sherrick will be there. We know Lisa Ashton will be there.
Yes.
And we're pretty confident Noelyn van Leuven will be there. But... yeah, but Gemma Hayter was in position, and it'll be either Hayter or Vanakainen, I would have thought, unless someone goes on a ridiculous run in the final Women's Series events that will displace either of them from that final position. So we're actually going to have, it was only supposed to be 4, but Beau Greaves doing so well, it's actually going to be 5 women at the World Championship this year.
That's great.
Which is extraordinary.
That's phenomenal.
And
fantastic.
Just shows the quality and the trust that the PDC have put in the
In their
women's side of
system.
things.
Agree. Absolutely.
Week 6 at the MODUS
Did most
Super
action
Series.
for you? Yeah, so David Evans was your winner. 85 average against Ashley Coleman. Last leg decided 2-180s. Not too bad on the doubles as well. We go to this week, and a pretty good lineup to say the least. Jason Heaver, Joe Croft, who had some very good performances in Group A. Connor Heenahan, the winner of the international pairs alongside John O'Shea. Jeff Smith, who returns, the winner of last series. Jamie Owens. Try and pronounce that one for me, will you?
Where am I looking?
This one here.
Well, it's Zevaboom would be the last name.
Zeriso?
Zevaboom. Zeriso Zevaboom.
There you go. Sam Spivey, who made the final last series but lost to him, actually. Kevin Painter, the Highlander John Henderson's back. James Hubbard, Martin Thomas, and Thomas Birksfield is your lineup for week 7. Here's how things stand now. This is complete, obviously.
That's how late we're doing
Monday
this
to
podcast.
Wednesday. So Joe Croft won on leg difference. So he finished 10-5 alongside Jamie Owens, but +2 in the legs won there.
Connor Heenahan's in there. I forgot. I didn't even clock his name. He's someone that he just hits 9 darters at Portsmouth.
Yes,
for fun.
he does.
He's the famous 9 dart hitter.
I watched
that venue.
I watched a game. I think this was it Wednesday night or Tuesday night? Anyway, I just chucked it on for a little bit because I had done a few things. I'm like, all right, just watch some darts. Heenahan and Joe Croft, they hit 8 180s between them. The record's 9. It went to a last leg decider, and they just tapered off, and we were so close to seeing it, but agonisingly close. So 8 180s between. That's a gallant effort. And where am I? So this is updated stuff.
Shake up.
Yeah, after the shake-up of results, obviously Croft won Group A, and then filtering down.
We don't usually talk about this because it's obviously too late, but doing this on a Friday, well, I have seen the week 8 lineup, and it's a strong one.
Haven't
it's
put it in,
a very strong one, so we'll look at that next week.
Yes,
the
we
big
will.
name that stands out for me, and one I knew was going to go there, is Matthew Edgar. So most Super Series will be streaming on Edgar TV as primetime makes his return. I know Fallon Sherrick's also in that Group B, so he's in Group B from memory. Matthew Edgar, he'll be talking a lot on the Mission Darts podcast that he was planning to go to MODUS.
Good to see.
So it'll be great to see him. One of my favourite commentators and darts pundits at the moment is Matthew Edgar, and doing more and more in that particular space. He will go to Q School next year, but he's only planning to play the Phase 1.
Okay.
So if he does qualify for Phase 2, he won't show up. He can still play affiliate tours because he's doing so much in media, and because he says he can't do anything less than 100%. He doesn't actually want to get a tour card, because if he gets a tour card, then all of a sudden his plans for the rest of the year are messed up with the content he's creating for his own channel and the Mission Darts channel, and doing stuff with the PDC commentary side of things. So he will play Phase 1 of Q School, but he's been pretty adamant, even though Luke Humphries has tried to talk him into potentially playing Phase 2, but he's definitive on playing Phase 1 at Q School, and then not playing the second phase where the tour cards are actually handed out, for fear of him actually getting a tour card.
There you go.
So yeah, looking
we have
forward
a
to see
weekly
Edgar
winners update
next
for
week.
you. They actually decided to put something together, which is nice.
Hey.
So Carl Wilkinson, Keegan Brown, Neil Duff, David Pallett, Jensen Walker, and David Evans are the 6 to start. So 6 more weeks left before we get to the Series 12 Champions Week. We've also got the AEC Windmill Championship Tour. I put this in a couple of weeks ago, but it is this Saturday. Portsmouth, 11:30. Doors open, 12:30 starts. That's on the finals night. So if you're around Portsmouth, get down. Should be a good event. And we had our game. Wasn't too bad. It was pretty average.
Well, I actually started pretty well, and then my scoring
did.
just fell apart.
You pinched a leg off me.
won, but I did pinch a leg in 39 darts, 3-1. Josh win, and then on Division 2 of the Darts Down Under League, Josh just continues this extraordinary run of form. He's the unbeatable player at the moment. A 6-2 win in the best of
last week.
Oh yeah, we don't remember any of those. We only remember the wins, Josh. That's what happens.
We do. So yes, I versed JP, who's the moderator. Very good guy. I've said him before. He actually has shouted out our channel a couple of times on Facebook, which is nice.
I have seen that.
So props to him. He's very good at doing all this stuff.
Give us a wave in the comments if anyone's watching for the Darts.
Thank you.
Down Under League or
54
is
average,
with them in
pretty
any way.
good first on average. Checker rate was pretty good. He described it as clinical, but do you notice anything in the highest finish category?
Fluke. This is the most
Dean,
fluky
this is a
finish.
fluke.
You were
It's on
not
the next
aiming
slide.
for
Here
tops.
we go.
I guarantee you were not aiming to go top 60,
treble 20, and
double
then
18. You were not trying to do that, Josh. That first dart fell out of your hand and you fluked it in. That nearly went in the double 1.
It did.
Which
It
is
was a
where it
fraction off that
deserved to go. And it's... Is that your highest finish?
It
or?
is. I believe it is. I will.
My highest finish at 129
yours?
and
Okay.
19 treble 20 bull, and that actually went in the
Wow.
areas where I was aiming to throw it.
Okay. I will have
So-
to check Dark Counter, but I'm pretty sure to date that it is. So
Yeah, the problem is I don't have any footage of that 129, and you have
Yes.
footage of the 136. So,
because they actually have the action replays now, which is fantastic. But
yeah, it didn't have it when I was doing it.
I make sure now that every time I play, I actually delete some of the action replays. So then if I have something crazy like this, it saves. So luckily I did. So
Yeah.
very, very cool. We do have an update on the table now after week 4. So I'm
Third.
sitting in 3rd place, 3-1.
Need to see against Andrew and Liam, but have
Yes.
you just beaten up against the lower quality opposition, Josh?
Well,
So
I've
you're
seen.
the-
I've versed Dan, Scott, Hay. I'm
You
versing
play, you
Juzzy
haven't
this
versed.
week.
I hate when people
Sorry,
say versed.
Sorry,
It's
play. You're right.
just terrible English.
And JP. So those are the 3 or 4. Or have I versed Jardy as well? I'm not sure. Not sure. Anyway, but yeah, because it's sort of lower quartile, if you will. There's my sort of averages, 50 average.
50 average is very strong,
Not too
I will
bad.
say.
9 140s, and then there's that best checkout there.
And the
That-
best leg of 21.
So that goal, that represents the highest checkout across the actual league. In
Oh,
Div
well, is
2.
that the highest out?
Yes.
Oh, so not only have you fluked it on 360, you fluked the highest out.
And that's
Is there...
and that 50, it's got a little silver bracket. That means it's the second highest average in the league as well.
Oh, cheeks.
In Div 2, that is, I'm pretty sure. In Div 2. Same for that one.
Is there any actual prize for winning any of this, or
No,
is there just
no,
this is just for funsies?
Just for funsies and
I was going to
and
say that
bragging
because
rights.
it was historically, they don't do it anymore, but in the PDC they did used to give out like a little bit of money for whoever had the highest checkout of the week or the highest checkout
really?
of the tournament.
Oh,
So like
okay.
so and obviously additional money for a 9-dot finish. But
No, just a bit of fun.
so
enjoy
this is just for funsies. We're not doing this
just
for
funsy.
any.
No.
anything too serious?
Just enjoying it. Yeah, it'll be good. So
Who are you
What?
playing this week?
I am playing Juzzy topless, so that'll be sometime this week. What does he
He's
sit?
1 win, 1 draw, 2 losses.
Okay. So he's about
And a
middle
leg
of the table
difference
there.
of +1, so he's in the middle of the table, but you will go
Okay.
in a comfortable favourite, I would have thought.
Okay, there you go.
if we're, can you bet on this?
Oh god.
I would assume. I'm just yeah. Look, based on these performances, you would win more matches, but we'll see. Maybe he's had a lot of the top matchups, and he's a better player than the
Maybe.
+1 that we've
Find
seen.
out.
I don't
That'll be
know.
done
We'll
sometime.
see. Hopefully, I don't get too much strife for what I've just said. Anyway. Yes, it is Canberra this week. ANZ Premier League.
Yes.
ANZ Premier League continues. We've got
Oh,
Brody
yes,
Fink
Arena.
versus James Bailey. James Bailey keeps being that first match fair income. Raymond Smith versus
Yeah,
Simon
don't know that
Whitlock.
one.
Johnny Tartar, Ben Robb. The two New Zealanders against each other this week. Perhaps should have put that one for the Wellington week. But anyway, Tim Pusey plays Joe Comito. So the head of the ADA and the DPA systems go together there for what will be another strong night. Against in the nation's capital, then they go to Hobart, Adelaide, which is one event I know has very strong ticket sales. At least I was reminded that every 5 minutes when Dan Dawson was on commentary during the World Series events, he keep mentioning, the Adelaide night, like 90% of tickets sold out or something like that. And then they go to
Impressive.
Wellington, Gold
Well,
Coast, and obviously Brisbane.
There's not much going on in Adelaide. They're known for their wineries. That's about it. We got Adelaide Oval as well.
I'm going to say that.
Sorry,
Pretty,
Dante. I love you.
pretty,
But
pretty good sports venues.
They do,
In
they do.
Adelaide. European Tour wraps up this week with the German Darts Championship in Hildesheim.
Yes.
If you can believe it, Peter Wright is the defending champion. So
okay.
he beat Local Etla in August of last year when they last time they held this tournament. Stephen Bunting is the number 1 seed because the Lukes and Michael are not there.
Oh,
so
okay.
Michael's actually not going to play the Players Championship finals because he's failed for qualification
Yes,
and
he
he
did.
pulled out of the remaining events. So no MVG at Minehead, and it would have been no Luke Littler either, but he was able to win that event, which has comfortably put him in qualification position. So Stephen Bunting will play the winner of Ryan Joyce and Justin Hood. We actually do have a bracket and a order of play together because again we record this podcast so late. Damon Head of the odds will play Jeffrey DeGraff or Steve Lennon. Raymond Van Barnevel's playing Kevin Trotman. And another match that stands out for mine. Cameron Menzies plays Wesley Plazier.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Ricky Evans has also qualified for a Euro Tour, which is fine. I think he's come off the reserve list.
Okay.
And he's playing Joe Cullen with the winner to
Ooh,
play
that could
Josh
be alright.
Rock. So it'll be great. I love seeing Rapid Ricky. He doesn't play many of these
No.
Euro Tour major events outside of the World Championships, because he's always just enough to qualify for them, but nowhere nearly enough to qualify for any of the others. So it'll be good to see Ricky Evans back on the Euro Tour, the world's fastest player. Right, Daryl Gurney and Simon Whitlock in the 2018 World Grand Prix was my addition last week to the Darts Archive. It wasn't the result that the Aussies would have wanted, because Daryl Gurney, the Northern Irishman, won in Dublin, Ireland, winning in a thrilling last set. And you've got
MVG versus Mervyn King 2012 World Grand Prix final, first to 6 sets.
This was one I was thinking of doing.
No.
There are highlights of this one. I actually do know the results
loading.
and have watched. There is supposed to be a thing there. That's okay. King and MVG.
Sorry, yes. Head-to-head in a classic game. King takes an early lead. MVG claws back and it reaches 4-4 in set play. Who will win? Find out next week. The video is attached there.
Or just watch it during the week, which was the whole point of the Darts Archive, which is to get you to watch classic darts matches
watch it during
so you can learn about the history of the sport.
So it's a classic one. MVG in, I guess you could say part of his prime, obviously.
Well, just before his prime. He was going for his first major title
Yeah.
With this one, and so was Mervyn King, funnily enough.
Going into it, yeah, it's probably a better way of putting it. That's all we have time for today. Wow, what a show.
What a show. So much has happened. And we could have just kept talking about it for hours. But thank you very much, Josh.
Pleasure as always.
Great
Thank you
show.
for being here.
Stick around for next week when, we'll probably have, it won't be this packed, but we'll have more MODUS. We'll have the European Championship will be upon us, and we'll preview that particular event. We'll have all the takeaways from an important Euro Tour as the final spots for Dortmund for that European Championship are decided, and I'm sure there'll be a million other things going on. There'll be plenty of
announcements, of course.
Affiliate tours and announcements and guys doing different things. So
Dev tour or whatever.
So much is going on. Actually, just before we do go off, let me look at Dark Connect and see what are some of the
that's a good idea.
Coming
Does
soon
say the upcoming
events.
games. That's a good idea.
Continental Cup that decides a spot at the Grand Slam, I'm pretty sure. Maybe even the Worlds. Cool. Double Darts Premier League. Stuff in Japan, and the Women's Series finishes up. We already mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
And the Challenge Tour on the weekend as well.
Cool.
And there's Players Championship events, but we'll record the podcast presumably for that. And the Grand Slam Tour tour card holder qualifier is only a couple of weeks away. So that shows
exciting.
We're just getting very close to the back end and the business end of the season. We're pretty much in major season. We can call it major season now.
Absolutely.
Where all the big events are starting to happen. All right, Josh?
Follow on Instagram, TikTok, lots of reels and content coming your way. Thanks so much for the love on the Owen Binks stuff. That's been incredible. So thank you, Binksy, as well. Hope you're having a great time in Sydney and in Canberra. You'll go there. So it's been, we're on the up after a slow start. We've been really getting up there. So thank you.
Another good edition. Happy Josh. That's where we'll wrap it up. And next time, we'll just keep blabbing on about just so much happening and predicting and analysing what could happen going forward. That's
Episode 36 next week.
It's 36 next week.
Double
18, my favourite double.
It is. I don't mind double 18 as well.
So if Stephen Bunting does it, I should come in with him. I hope to come in with my Stephen Bunting shirt for my favourite double equivalent episode. It'll be so great.
Well, speaking of shirts, it's my birthday on Monday. I'm getting a little shirt. I'm getting a Damon Hedder shirt.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
The green and gold version, not the World Cup one, just like the one that he wore on the tours.
Yeah, he wore during when we got to the when we went to the World Series event.
Yes.
The PNC came for the World Series
I've always
event.
wanted it. So
oh, that's brilliant.
A little gift.
So,
which I might wear some other time when it comes eventually.
Yes.
Over the UK shipping.
Yep.
We'll end it there, hey?
Yeah, we'll finish up there. Follow us on the socials, as Josh already said, and stay tuned for next week when, fingers crossed, we'll just go back to our usual Wednesday record.
Yes.
This has been the 9 Podcast.